I'm actually really surprised I'm making this video. For the first time in probably 5 or 6 years, I actually just watched a gaming showcase that was actually good. The other day, Nolan North and Jennifer English, shout out Shadowheart, hosted the Future Game Show Spring Showcase, and there was a ton of games at this show that I think you guys would actually really be interested in. There was actually trailers with guns in them, if you guys can believe that. And a ton of games that I've actually added to my wish list and am excited, and I wanted to make a video kind of talking and showcasing all of the games that I'm looking forward to that were featured at this showcase. If you guys see any games in this video that you like, I'm gonna have the links to all of them down below. Add them to your wish list. It supports developers and it lets you know when they actually do release. And if you guys get any value out of this video, leave a like on it, subscribe for more content just like this. And if Jeff Keighley happens to stumble across this video, hey man, take some notes, because this is what a gaming showcase should look like. About 20 minutes into this showcase, I was cringing a little bit, but the first game that caught my attention that I think you guys would be interested in is a game called Deathground. It's a solo and co-op survival horror game that throws players into a desperate battle for survival against deadly AI dinosaurs. Now, the vibes are immaculate. I loved the lighting, the visuals, the squad-based gameplay, cooperative survival. I'm in. I love games like this. I said this during the live stream. The make or break for this game is going to be the AI for the dinosaurs. If they're very janky, they call them unpredictable, but I wonder if that lends to like they're not quite good, so it's a little unpredictable, it's a little janky, it's a little fun. I think the dinosaurs are obviously going to make or break this title, and I hope they can nail it. We didn't really see raw gameplay here. It was obviously scripted, it was a trailer, but I'm definitely anxious to see more here. The next one is a game I thought was a literal meme and wasn't really gonna be much, but the game went viral, a bunch of clips were showcased online, and the developers took that interest and they ran with it. It's a game called Kingmakers, where you basically go back in time with modern weapons and you're taking on like knights in armor in the middle of a battlefield. I thought it was a meme. It was gonna be a fun little project that gets thrown out for a couple of dollars. These guys have taken it and ran with it. They've added full destructible maps. They've added co-op, and not only co-op as in like controlling one player, each player gets to control thousands of armies on this battlefield all at one time. Very curious to see if they're going to be able to pull this off, but there's base building elements. You have your own like fortresses you can build. It's actually crazy how much this idea has expanded back from running trucks through a bunch of knights on a battlefield. These guys look like they're killing it. Kingmakers, they got a nice logo, the rebrand. It actually looks like they're taking it seriously, which is something I didn't expect, but it's very much on my list, and I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. Now, the next one really just makes me upset. It's a game called Chains of Freedom. It's a turn-based tactical shooter. Reminds me a lot of XCOM. The description on Steam page: embark on a thrilling journey in a high-stakes turn-based tactics game. Lead an elite squad in a fictional dystopian Eastern Europe as you unravel a sinister conspiracy threatening the nation. The comic book cutscenes, the style of the game makes me just... I fell in love with it instantaneously. I really just wish this one was co-op. I have been looking for a really solid, deep, turn-based tactical game like this that is co-op. Ever since we beat Baldur's Gate 3, I've been looking for a game that can at least fill a little bit of that hole. And I saw this, I was like, oh shit, this looks right up my alley. And it is, and I am gonna play it. There is a demo available on Steam. I really just wish that it was co-op. That's probably the one complaint I have about it. It's a post-apocalyptic world with a gripping storyline and in-depth turn-based combat. Let me know if you guys want me to play this demo. I might throw that gameplay up on the second channel. I actually think that might be a good spot for it. But this was definitely one of the highlights of the event. Even if it's single player only, it still looks fucking incredible. Now, this next one was literally compared on the stage to Rainbow Six Siege, so I was instantaneously in. And then I saw the game and I was like, oh, okay, but hear me out. This game is called Neighbors Suburban Warfare. It's a lighthearted team-based PvP game about neighborhood warfare. You can deploy traps and barricades to defend your own house, strategize and gather resources from your surroundings to acquire crazy items to get the better of your neighbors. It's Rainbow Six Siege against your neighbors. I saw in one part of the trailer, there's somebody looks like they're literally deploying frost traps, and it looks like you can call in like an AC-130, but it's just a bird dropping bird shit on your enemies. It just looks fucking hilarious. There's a bunch of tools and weapons that you can grab. It just looks like a solid fun time. I know all of the Discord mods were saying like, we gotta do like a party night and just jump in and play this when it comes out. It's going to early access very, very soon. And in my opinion, this was definitely one of the highlight like takeaways from this event. It just looks like a fucking good time. And it also looks like they're having a play test right now. If you go to the Steam page linked down below, you can request access and jump in. The game's coming out soon. I don't think I'm gonna jump into the playtest. I'd rather just wait for the early access launch. But yeah, I was definitely in after watching that trailer. Now, this next one I've been keeping a very close eye on. I was so psyched to see it here. I didn't expect it. It's called INDUSTRIA 2. I personally haven't played the first one, but what it is a narrative FPS adventure about a woman stranded in a parallel dimension. Explore, scavenge, and fight your way through a mysterious boreal landscape consumed by an ever-hungry artificial intelligence trying to find its way home. The visuals here are so fucking sexy. The darkness, the way that they use dark and light and color here is fucking incredible. This is art. This is art, and it just resonates with me so much. I actually cannot fucking wait to play it. I've looked at the first one, and this is where there's a little bit of a disconnect here. I haven't played the first one. I've seen it, and it looks decent, but like I didn't get the same feeling looking at the trailers for INDUSTRIA 1 that I'm getting looking at this one. The way that they use dark and light, the colors here, the AI animation at work here, the visuals, obviously it's being built on Unreal Engine 5. Very curious to see what the performance is going to be like. This is one of the best looking indie games, in my opinion, that's currently upcoming. Like, just run it back. This shot here is giving me massive Half-Life vibes, and I'm all here for it. There's no release date on it yet, and my guess is it's not coming out anytime soon. This is probably a marketing push to start building up their wish lists. But the features of this game are up my alley as well. Immersive, slow-paced gameplay, physics-based interaction, crafting, and a diegetic inventory ground the gameplay in the game's environment. It's a narrative FPS to its core, where you'll meet memorable characters and progress through a very touching story. A unique setting where industrial decay in a vast boreal nature meets otherworldly sprawling machine structures. You have upgradable weapons. There's robot body horror. It's a compact indie experience. So what they're saying is this is going to be a 4 to 6 hour long filler-free journey made by a passionate small indie team. The dev team here is called Bleak Mill, and I have to say, if any of them ever watch this video, you guys are doing exactly what I want Resurgent to eventually build up and do. You started with a game that I believe was smaller in scope, and now you're coming out with a tried and true sequel that looks like you expanded on absolutely everything, from the visuals to the gameplay to the lighting to potentially the story as well. It's a true inspiration. I can't suck this game's dick enough. And I know I have to go back and play the first one because I believe the stories are relevant and connected to one another. Very, very cool. Obviously, Pioneer was one that was shown. I've been covering the game for a long time, and I actually dropped an entire video on it. If you guys haven't seen it, it's going to show up on the top of your screen, or it's linked down below. I got a chance to play a single-player demo that they provided to me a few days early. So go check out that video if you want to hear my full thoughts on Pioneer as a game, or at least as a current demo. Now, this next game, a lot of you guys, if you're following the channel, you might not think this is something that I'm interested in, but it's a game called Will Follow the Light, and I'm kind of looking at this one in the same vein as an INDUSTRIA 2. It's a realistic single-player first-person journey through harsh northern latitudes as you sail endless waters, searching for a way back to your loved ones. So it's a story-based game, but I actually kind of fell in love with the game following this trailer. The way that these guys use light and dark in the same vein as INDUSTRIA 2's trailer, the art style just kind of grabbed me. The thing is, I'm not sure how much of the storyline I'm actually interested in here, but obviously it's another game being built on Unreal Engine 5. There's deep exploration and traversal systems, including realistic sailing and dog sledding mechanics that let you explore this world. And again, the story of fathers and sons, a compelling narrative adventure in a mysterious setting with puzzles, secrets, and revelations at every chapter. I think I'm more interested in the gameplay aspects of a game like INDUSTRIA more than a game like this, but the atmosphere, the world, the visuals, and just the style of the game presentation kind of grabbed me a little bit. I'm curious to see more. I don't know if this is something that I would necessarily cover or play on the channel, but the trailer for this game definitely grabbed my attention all the way through, and it's something I wanted to mention in this video. Now, swapping gears back to a first-person shooter, it can't be a Big Fry video without more guns. This game is called Metal Eden. It's an adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS, very reminiscent of something like Doom. You play as a hyper unit Aska, and you're sent on a suicide mission to rescue citizens' cores from Mobius, an orbital city turned into a deadly trap. Now, one thing that a lot of you guys might not actually know, or maybe I've never really talked about it, I'm not the biggest Doom fan. I find that I play these games for a few hours and then I kind of just clock out. A lot of it becomes incredibly repetitive to me. And while I will say, like, playing Doom, I totally get why people like those games. What I find is I end up spending $70. I buy Doom, I play it for a couple of hours, and then I'm just kind of like, all right, I feel like I've seen everything this game has to offer. Yes, I can unlock, different weapons that let me kill enemies in a different way, but at the end of the day, it just kind of gets a little repetitive, and I'm not really inclined to follow any sort of storyline there. It just feels like a good, couple of hour boomer shooter kind of thing. Whereas when I play games like Ion Fury or Phantom Fury, or I actually think Metal Eden is going to fit into this category as well, I find that if there's a story that I'm actually engaged with, it takes the repetitive aspects down a little bit more. I like killing things as much as the next guy, but if you expect me to put like 10, 15, 20 hours into just running into a room, shooting guys down while jumping around, and then doing it over and over and over and over again, the repetitive aspect just fucking kills it for me. So I'm hoping that Metal Eden has a better story, something that I'm more engaged with when I jump in. It is coming out soon, and it does interest me. The gameplay does look fun, but I'm really hoping for some variety in mechanics and enemy design, as well as a story that can kind of take me through and keep me engaged. Now, this next game is called Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days. It's a side-scrolling survival game set in Texas in 1980. Walton City has fallen to a zombie outbreak. Lead a band of desperate survivors from refuge to refuge by scavenging, crafting, and fighting in a relentless struggle for survival. The art style here looks fucking awesome. I love the side-scrolling nature of it. I love that you can kind of see up and down. It gives me some like Fallout Shelter vibes. There is a demo available now. I haven't played it yet, but what I love is you can gather a group of ordinary people who have been left shaken by the sudden zombie outbreak. You can establish upgradable shelters to house your survivors and protect them from the zombie threat, but you got to remember that no barriers can keep them out forever. You got to keep moving from refuge to refuge to stay one step ahead of the encroaching zombie hordes. Every night, zombies come and try to destroy your barriers, and if they break through, your survivors can pay the price. And you also have to balance physical needs of the group like hunger and exhaustion, as well as psychological needs like despair, heal survivors from injuries like broken ribs, and try to manage traumas like nightmares. So there's an in-depth like survivor, almost like a Fallout Shelter system where you have to manage your actual group while you go out and scavenge for resources. It's a very cool concept with an art style that goes fucking hard in a setting that goes fucking hard, with a camera angle that is very, very reminiscent of this War of Mine. The game looks fucking cool. I'm excited for it to come out, and it comes out incredibly soon. That's another thing that I don't know if you've noticed a pattern here. This future game show is showing games that are coming out very, very soon. Yeah, we have games like INDUSTRIA that doesn't have a release date yet. A lot of the games on this list in this video here are coming out within the next 45 days. And Into the Dead looks fucking cool. And they ended the show with Painkiller from 3D Realms and Saber, which has pissed off a lot of people. Looking at the community hub for the game, it's pretty fucking brutal. Now let's get to what this game is, and then we'll talk about the community reaction to it as well. According to the Steam page, you battle through purgatory in fast-paced co-op action, wielding infernal weapons against relentless demonic hordes. Condemned for your sins, the voice of the creator offers you a chance at redemption. Will you seize it or be lost to the darkness. And this is another one of those games that I would really, in my brain, just chalk into the Doom kind of style games that I'd probably play a few hours of. The one thing that is actually interesting me and is seemingly pissing off a lot of people is the fact that it's co-op. And I think that infinitely appeals to me more. I can play with my friends, I can play with my girlfriend, and we can jump in and just shoot things for hours on end. And I think I would have a lot more time with that than just doing it by myself. That being said, the co-op aspect of the game is pissing off a lot of people because even if you choose to play solo, you have to deal with an AI like squad mate that you have to kind of just lug around, which does kind of suck. But the game lets you jump, dash, and hook across vast biomes while fighting enemies with a bunch of new and classic Painkiller weapons. A lot of people have been talking about the enemy design being very, very generic, as well as the fact that you are stuck in purgatory only in this game. So in the originals, you could be playing in an opera house one level and then going to the Tower of Babel the next. It was always fresh, it was new. This is one of the comments that I'm reading in one of the threads here. But now it just, you're stuck in purgatory, you're just kind of stuck in hell, and it all kind of looks the same. And a lot of people are now comparing this game to the upcoming Doom Dark Ages, which everybody's saying Doom Dark Ages is just going to be a better version of Painkiller. That being said, like I feel like there's enough room for both. Like, again, for me, the big appeal of Painkiller, the new one anyway, is the fact that it's going to be co-op and I can actually just trudge through and kill shit with somebody else. I think that's cool. And as somebody who has only seen the originals being played like over my friend's shoulder, I never really was attached to this franchise, but this is also kind of feeling like a Saints Row situation where you see a dev team come in and not do the original franchise justice and make it new and reboot it. I can definitely see why people are upset. And the thing is this isn't the first time that we've seen this kind of thing happen. It happens all the fucking time. So I think a lot of people are cautious. A lot of people are looking at some of the changes that they're making and voicing their opinions in the community hub. And that wraps up the Future Games Showcase recap. I'll be honest, there were a few other games on there that appealed to maybe me personally. There were a couple of like more chill, kind of cozy games, but you guys don't give a shit about that. I wanted to bring games to you guys that I feel like would appeal to you, and maybe you missed it, maybe you didn't watch the showcase. I try to watch every one of these showcases, and I'll be honest, a lot of them are so filled with like cringeworthy jokes and musical acts and other bullshit filler to make the thing go 3 hours long. The Future Game Showcase was an hour and a half, and then they did like a post show where they got more in depth with some of the stuff for the people who wanted to see that shit. Very, very cool. Very organized. There were a couple cringeworthy jokes here and there, but I thought Nolan North and Jennifer English actually held it down very well as hosts. This show was a banger. Back-to-back trailers. It was all about the games and not about any of the other bullshit. There wasn't any political messaging. There wasn't any bullshit Muppets coming on stage. There wasn't any sponsors or anything like that. I think the only major sponsor was GOG, and it was basically like, hey, we know you guys actually play games and care about games and developers. Here's our good old game preservation program, and here's a bunch of games we're adding so that you can actually play them forever, including Fear. Poor Monolith. I was very, very impressed, and this is the first time, I don't even know if I've ever done a video like this ever. I came out of that presentation going, holy shit. Somebody in this industry actually knows how to put on a good gaming showcase. So if you guys haven't seen the entire thing, I'll also have that linked down below. And again, wish list any of the games that you saw in this video that are interesting to you. Go watch the entire showcase. Maybe you'll see a game in another genre that isn't a first-person shooter or something equivalent to that, and maybe you'll see something you like. As always, my name is Big Fry. Thank you guys for watching. Again, let me know down below your thoughts on any of the games shown here today. A lot of them look very fucking cool. I'm very anxious. And, you know, looking at this, they might not all be like first-person tactical PvP multiplayer shooters, but gaming is feeling pretty dope right now if you're willing to kind of jump around, maybe jump into the indies, play a different genre, play a different style. It's very, very cool. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content just like this. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.